Hello everyone, welcome back to the Twin Plains again, playing Asphodel, and let's get to it. So what I'm going to do for most of these turns is just go straight to the map to see what the new reality on the ground looks like, and if there are any big battles I will focus in on them, because for the most part, as you will see, it's a bunch of back and forth trades, just trying to keep the upper hand in the raiding war and stuff like that. So let's go straight to Agartha, since that was our primary target. We took it with generally not very many losses, even picked up a few extra mannequins. Actually, this Carrion Ogre, I suspect, if I had to go through, oh well, it's probably not going to show it because of replays, but my bet is this is actually a Carrion Centaur that got sniped by a bow and died, because none of these other things look like they're big enough, and the PD doesn't stick around afterward if you mannequinize them. So there's that. But as far as this battle goes, there was a special event afterward of cavemen, and I actually got a few extra troops from a caveman event. So thanks, cavemen. Aside from that, we are just raiding the crap out of everything, and he did in fact storm this fort, but like I said, don't really care. I could have probably patrolled, retreated with the, or broke siege, retreated with the Carrion Centaur and the one Sagittarian Carcass. They might have even made it out alive, but I think I have enough spares that I'm not really going to bother worrying about it too much. And so we also took our vengeance upon the werewolves at last. And now we're taking a move right onto this fort, which doesn't seem to have a whole lot of guys in it, other than a few probably straggling research mages. And we've hit pretty much everywhere else. Now he's picked up a bunch of mercenaries with whatever gold he has lying around. These are actually kind of expensive, although I should point out that Asphodel, as you see at the bottom, pays extra for these guys. The Blackbone Pirates are not super great, but with everybody else, they're gonna do fine. Plus, I'm only leaving one PD everywhere, so don't really care about all that. So this is great for me. His one of his main armies is out of position right now, which leaves me a bit of extra time to siege down his cap. And siege it down I will. I've already brought basically everyone from Ind all the way over here, rotating here, 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 and here. And so in all, this next turn is going to have over 1,000 mannequins and various other things on top of his capital. We have, let's see, well, we should have had Foul Vapor there. So there's a Foul Vapors there. I think a bunch of these extra guys. I just have so many mages right now that I'm not focusing on them as I should be, like scripting as studiously as I could. There's a Nature 4 guy. This would be great to not throw on the front lines. Actually, I think I even realized that this turn and I'm moving him. No, never mind. Well, maybe later on. But anyways, Nature 4 guys, very good to have and use for other things. We've got some hiding harpies with a couple extra gems, and we are moving in a death for which we got death 3, plus we're sticking a skull staff on him for whatever shenanigans. He's sneaking in, so he's not going to participate, but I've got him in reserve if I think that a rigor mortis play might help me. It's not going to do super great against like his sentinels, for example, but a lot of my guys will probably be immune to it. My regular mages will not, but they have good enough MR that they could probably shrug it off for the most part. And I've actually picked up one of these blue caps a while back. I have him in his floaty form. I think that's just to like avoid earthquakes and stuff like that. Plus, I think he also moves a little bit farther. Map move. Yeah, he moves a lot farther in his blue wisp form. Plus ethereal, and also because he has fewer hit points in his wisp form with shape changer, if he gets killed in his wisp form, he will turn into the kobold with a good old 7 hit points instead. So just a couple of extra backup options for them if I thought I needed it. Now, Agartha is not letting me sit pretty. He is taking his own vengeance on me by sniping this throne. Like I said, I wasn't really concerned about it. I knew that it was always going to be a possibility. But I'm going to focus on trying to take his lands, and I have so much that losing a couple things and picking up the throne again later on is not going to burden me super much. Counter raiding over here with some stuff that I had sitting in Nazca. I've got basically free spawned reanimated carrion centaurs showing up all over the place wherever I've got temples in forts and stuff like that. There's a couple. Haven't gotten any there yet, but yeah, obviously I had one in here. So yeah, that is the Pantocrator's realm, so we're starting to crack down on him pretty hard. There's a couple of water provinces that I could take at some point, but I'm trying to sit on his forts for the time being. This one I'll leave and see where he decides to move. He may move here. As you can see, I'm stocking it with a crap ton of harpies, so if he does do that, I will happily let him sit there for as long as he likes. In the underground layer, we're going to build up a small force of guys here for going in the underwater provinces and taking those from him. And we are going to start moving out and raiding a bit out here. So we're going to move these guys here and then maybe circle around up this way. And this is Inn's last fort, so I'm not really worried about it. I think these guys could probably take it. I don't think there's anything else in there. Plus, Ind is AI at this point, so it's no biggie. And Gartha did do that thing that I thought he would do, which is bop out here. So we're doing the little back and forth, and I'm pulling back again because I don't think that these number of mages would be able to do it. Although they might. These guys are, for the most part, defenders of the hall, and as we saw in a previous battle, they do not take well to foul vapors. So I might be able to do it, but I'm not risking it. This is about 300 mannequins that I could use for later if I felt like making a push later on. So that's the plan for this turn 38. Let's take a brief look at research, where I'm at right now. I decided to take this opportunity, since I'm basically steamrolling on the surface layer, to get a bit greedy and rush for Construction 7, which is why I've been able to get a handful of Construction 7 items. And other than that, I'm going for Conjuration 8, and in this game I thought I would try out the Fairy Queens, since I've got enough boosters for that now. My actual pretender after this battle here, I pulled her back and have moved her onto this throne, which again is the Throne of Misfortune. I decide not to claim it quite yet because I already have Misfortune 2 skills, so she's going to sit there for the time being unless I need her to emergency drop on somebody, in which case I could move like over here or something like that in order to get that. But I believe she was forging a Mirage Crystal, probably either that or a Gossamer Veil. So yeah, that will start getting me up into the Glamour boosters. I've got a couple of random items here. I haven't really been focusing on my item game, but some of them are actually equipped, and I'm deciding that based on some of the things that Agartha's army composition has, it would be nice to mix in some army thugs. So for example here, I'm moving one of my first army thug pairing into this province to catch him. So what my plans are for thugs are to have these guys, preferably either twice-born ones or Carrion Lords themselves, either the summoned ones or already twice-born Carrion Lords, and then just throwing him in with a fluffing Dryad Hag, which would fit in the same square, and the Pan or Carrion Lord would do most of their death stuff, and then the Carrion Dryad Hag would do most of the glamour stuff and some nature stuff as well. Touch of Madness, I'm hoping, would hit the Panic Apostate for turning him berserk, which will allow him to not retreat if he gets hit too hard, or if the HP routing happens for whatever reason. I don't think it really works like that, probably because they're in the same square, that she doesn't want to target herself with Touch of Madness. Not 100% sure of that because it's an area of effect 1, but oh well. It doesn't really work out. He doesn't attack here, so but later on we'll be having a couple more thugs coming in. I think this silk garments I picked up from the salamander silk garments I picked up from Ind when one of his thugs got ganked by whoever I had in any of their battles and stuff like that. So I've got a few items lying around that I picked up, plus some that I made, so he could be cool. Anyways, let's move on to the next turn and get into some fun battles. Alright, here we are in turn 39. So no really big battles this turn, but a bunch of just sort of movements just to sort of try and take areas and lock places down. Agartha has moved up with his massive army from over here, so it was a bit of a overkill for me to run away like a chicken. So now I'm moving everything back again, and we might push him on this. Meanwhile, over here, we've taken this, and we are continuing to raid. This one is not really raiding, but it'll be a free province for us that we'll definitely be able to take without casualties with this many centaurs. I might even be overkill. I could do like that or something like that. But you never know how much PD he might have there. And there's Ind's last fort. So on here, we've dumped almost 400 mannequins. Unfortunately, one of our Dryad Hags gets sniped, but I don't think it was one that was doing very much important. So we've got Howl, we've got Regrowth, Blur, but yeah, so no Foul Vapors. This is Howl. I mean, he could do Foul Vapors. I think maybe I was like, well, maybe I'll just poison more of myself than him, especially... Well, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. It was a while back. Oh yeah, I'm bringing all these guys. Okay, I think I was starting to notice that I was doing a lot of self-killing with my own centaurs and stuff like that, so I decided I'd go with Howl instead of Foul Vapors for this battle, and we'll bring in a lot of regular troops. And these guys can help supplement that. I suspect these guys are going to go right over there and try and knock me off. This army has completely abandoned that fort, so I think he got the message from me that I wasn't fighting him over it and that this is a bait for me to take his cap, and so he's moved his army back. It could go down here, but I seriously doubt it. I suspect he's going to try and rescue himself, although his fort is cracked now, so he needs to do something with it if he can. This fort is also cracked, but I think I'm just going to ping it first, just so I don't get trapped by anything. I just only have about 400 mannequins and questionable number of stuff, whether I would be able to take it or not. Howl, again, is not going to be of much use in a fort storming, so I might reshuffle these gems and decide if I need to bring a Foul Vapors caster or something like that. He did wind up bringing this group to ping it, I guess, to retreat. Yeah, it didn't work, whatever it was, so I think maybe just spend my gems and stuff like that. Yeah, which is fine. Fair enough, but that raiding force is dead now, so I'm taking the throne back immediately. And his mercenaries are continuing around, just raiding whatever he sees, I guess, in a circle or something like that. Because he was here last turn, so whatever. I can kill them at any point I want, but I'm not really worried about it right now. The most annoying thing was a very, very clutch move on the part of Horrors, which was actually... one of my Panic Apostates got attacked, and he apparently had a bunch of horror marks on him, which I don't recall where he might have gotten them from, so maybe there was some site he had been hanging out in. Anyways, it was complete news to me. Now, luckily for me, it wasn't too bad because he was twice born. I suppose it could still be a problem later on since the horror marks aren't going to go away. But this was a bit of a issue for me for two reasons. One was this was my Foul Vapors caster. Now, as you saw, I had a couple of backups here. There's a Foul Vapors caster, for example. I could give any of these guys Nature Gem. There's another Foul Vapors caster. So I could have made do, but at the time, if Agartha had broken siege, there would have been no Foul Vapors in this battle because my guys had not been scripted as such. This was the Foul Vapors caster, or they hadn't had gems, right? I had Foul Vapors on whatever, this guy or whoever you saw last turn. But the other really funny thing about this particular pan that had been moving here is that he had been leading my 32 Carrion Furies, and so they were all sitting here. Now I have a bunch of Carrion Furies here, no doubt, like a handful, but like this was the majority of them. This is like my army right here. These are the heavy hitters, and they also would not have been present because of that random horror attack. So now I have to move them in, and luckily for me, I had this guy moving into this province, so he gets to pick them up straight away and ferry them on over. But it was a bit random. I was like, what the heck? Why now? Why that guy? That was just really weird. But anyways, it could have been really bad. Luckily for me, it wasn't super bad. But anyways, now what I decide to do this turn is a little bit weird. I thought it would be fun. I wanted to try out, a random idea, see how it would work out. But I feel like I was overthinking it. So what I was overthinking was he might have a bunch of stuff in here. If I ping it, then I'll just know what it is. I can ping it with some commanders and do some actual damage and stuff like that. So what I decide to ping it with is actually a Foul Vapors caster, along with a Fluffer to keep him alive, and the blessing will hit him because he's sacred now that he's a Carrion Lord. But the bodyguards I decide to use are Carrion Behemoths, and so that's a big bunch of sacks of meat that'll surround him and trample anybody that gets too close. I thought that would be a fun little thing to do. And so he was just going to pop in there, Storm Castle, and Foul Vapors. Then Self-Fluff plus the Moss Bodies will hit the elephants and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I thought this would be smart on my part in some way for, whatever reason. Now, we're going to go right into the next turn, turn 40, and you are going to see very quickly why this was not smart, and I should have done not this, and instead something quite different. So here we are with turn 40, and we've got two battles in Agartha. We've got the battle in Agartha, and we've got the battle in the Fortress of Agartha. So I did manage to pull off my fort storming bit, but, and here's the big but, Agartha breaks siege first with an actual army, and because Agartha breaks siege with an actual army, this guy that I had, in my infinite wisdom, decided to script Foul Vapors for is going to cast Foul Vapors right now, and that's his gems. So he's casting Foul Vapors now, and he's not going to cast Foul Vapors in the storming of the fort. And this is not a lot of guys, but it is, still a strong force against my mannequins specifically, especially the Magma Children with their Flame Strikes, and the Shard Guards with their Bless, and his Pretender with the Fire Shield and a lot of equipment, plus the Sentinels on Guard Commander, and a bunch of guys to fluff all of them. So it's still going to pack a punch, and it's still going to kill a couple of my guys. However, now that I have my Carrion Furies in the fight, they are going to smash the heck out of his guys. As you can see, they just steamroll him. And unluckily for me, that wound up HP routing his Pretender, and so I don't get him. So his Pretender lives, but everything else gets killed. And I did say I lose, a couple things, but overall, not a lot. Out of the 1,000 that I have, I only lost like 150 or so. One mage, not even sure what that might have been. Maybe just poison from foul vapors and stuff like that. But when we storm Agartha, would not have stopped what I had. If I had redistributed my gems and brought backups for double casting foul vapors, for example, like assuming that he would have broken siege, which, why wouldn't he have broken siege? I suppose maybe he hoped the fort bottleneck would be able to stop me or something like that. But I could have beaten this. I could have steamrolled this and won. So yeah, I just like instead I didn't. And so this guy goes in and he's like, "Hey, I have no gems now. Fear me and my 5 behemoths, and I'm gonna just advance cast, and we're gonna fight you a bit, and I'm gonna run away because you killed my behemoths. Oh no!" So he survives at least. Good for him. And there he is. So we're gonna try that again and move him back here and be like, "All right, well, we'll take that again." There's his army. So now I just wasted the time that I could have taken his fort, because if I had taken his fort right now, his pretender would not have been in the fort storming battle. This would have just steamrolled that. I could have taken his cap right now, but I didn't, and now I have to fight these guys as well. And his pretender's still alive. Plus, he has a couple more oracles of the ancient in here. So, yeah, it's just like, why would that happen? But oh well. Me thinking too far ahead and using my noggin in the not smart ways. But anyways, that trend continues. We'll get to that in a second. But we also had a very big battle here because, like I said, he brought his army, this army over here, and he smacked up against my army here, which I've got a bunch of centaurs, a bunch of black minotaurs in the back, and we're going to do howl, not foul vapors with this one. And the centaurs hit the flanks. They do a wraparound. They do manage to kill a bunch of his guys on the flanks. The rest of his guys get into melee with my mannequins, but I have too many, and we are able to overwhelm his front line. And now we're getting into his mage corps, and my black minotaurs are getting into his mage corps and trampling the crap out of them. We're killing a lot of them. Now again, this isn't necessarily going to fully reflect what actually happened in the battle, but it reflects it well enough that I kill 10 out of his 11 golem crafters. The oracles escape. I kill a sea father, and I kill most of his troops. And I do lose a lot with this one. Now I pick up a couple free carrion ogres, but I lose a lot of minotaurs, a lot of black centaurs, because, as is my usual shtick with throwing my cap-only sacreds away, that they're all dead now, and I lose a bunch of mannequins. So, yeah, this army is significantly reduced in combat power, but I decide the way that I'm going to alleviate that is I'm just moving everyone here. And so we're going to, well, I say consolidate. So again, this is me overthinking what I should do, right? I'm like, there's guys in his cap. I know there's guys in his cap. So I'm going to split his forces, and we're going to have these guys move here. We're going to have this army move here and hit whatever breaks siege from his cap, and maybe even these guys as well. So we're going to try that. We're going to try the push tactic. We're going to try and push his army of 300 guys, and we know their composition, and I don't even know if they have gems, actually, to be honest. Let's take a look. No. No. So, doesn't look like any gems on this group here. So, this would be pretty easy pickings. And I even decided to bring my sneaky rigor mortis caster here and try and get all of them in this, because that would be the fatigue play, and so his mages wouldn't escape to here. Although if they do manage to escape to here, I'm putting my thug on top of his fort, and we're going to try and see how well my thugging works. We ping inside here. It's not that much stuff. He's not going to be able to get more magma children from that province because these are cap only summons, so they would be summoned in here. So I look at this, and I guess just because of the losses that I've been taking, I'm like, I can wait a couple turns. I'll just wait a couple turns and bring some more guys. So I'm bringing some more guys. And yeah, so there's my Foul Vapors caster. She's going to sneak in, and we'll pick up the gems and redistribute later on from this guy. So yeah, that's the plan right there. Now, as far as this province, the cave layer goes, we're moving in with a big old stack, which is not going to be able to be contested with whatever he has over here. And I see with my harpies everywhere that he basically doesn't have anything in the area, so I'm just going to steamroll it, and we're bringing another 500 carrion from here to go in as well, and either reinforce here or go down into the caves, whatever I feel like. So yeah, it's a weird situation. He keeps paying for whatever mercenaries he can afford, and yeah. So that's where we're at. We're going to do one more turn, and we're going to see the fruits of this labor and whether my super big brain move worked or not. So, spoilers, it did not work, because even though he had about 300 ohms or troops or whatever he had here, and I sent in 1,000 to try and push him, it didn't work. Not 100% sure what the calculation decided for that, but we had a battle here in Agartha with over 1,000 guys again, and we won. So we're managing to just kill all of his armies like one at a time, which is good. But like, his cap is still there. He's still alive, and his pretender keeps escaping. And there's that rigor mortis. So now I got rigor mortis on this whole group here. And yeah, so this battle was a lot of fun to watch as well, because obviously we've got the Carrion Furies who are stealing the show. And on top of everything that, we've got Foul Vapors, and we've got Howl, and we've got Rain now, even in case he decides to use fire magic, put himself to sleep even more. So yeah, these guys are already fatigued out, and the Carrion Furies are just gonna pummel the crap out of everything. And now that most of his mages are asleep, they're all dead. And so we kill another 7 golem crafters, and most of his forts are under siege now, except for the ones underground. His pretender escapes again and is back in the fort. 3 out of his 4 Oracle of the Ancients, so that's essential for us. And all of his shard guards, however many sentinels he decided to summon now, most of his ohms. So yeah, overall success. Again, only about 150 losses. We even picked up some more carrion ogres, but there's his fort. At this point, I'm just like, screw it, we're going in, and we are. Now, the funny thing about this is that while I've been dancing outside of his cap, this little group right here, as you might have been watching, has been going in a full circle from here to here to here to here. You cannot get a more telegraphed move out of this. Now, he's obviously going to go here. I don't even care to stop him, but I am going to take this province, and this province, and this province, and shut that crap down, because we are not going to have that happen. Like, even if he does succeed in like killing me, which he hasn't so far, and in driving my army off, Even if he were to be able to do that, my mages would all die if I let him do a full surround on me. So that is not going to happen. I am not going to let that happen. And so we're just storming the fort, and we're putting an end to all this shenaniganry. And we're storming this fort, and we've gone on top of this fort with our thug chassis, and it worked. It worked out well. I might shake this up a little bit. I'm not 100% sure how I want to play in terms of their overall gear and scripting and stuff like that, because that's a lot of fatigue overall. Now Soul Vortex will help out, but yeah, so he'll probably be fine because he won't be able to be hit by anything. Yeah, his defense now is even still pretty good, even though he's got a full surround on him, and his hit points is going up now to over 60. So it's fine. It's fun. But I think I can spice this up a little bit, especially if it decides to bring counter thugs. I think this is the first showcasing of what I could do with thugging, so he's probably already thinking of like, well, how do I fight this now, and what do I do? So anyways, yeah, that's fine. I have rebought the Ferris, and looks like they've been putting on some free gear for me, stuff for forging and Ring of Water breathing, so they could bring him down into the water layer. Speaking of the water layer, we'll close out real quick with the final battles of Ind and Relay. So Ind has nothing in the fort, so this was just deciding to steamroll and kill all of his Cynocephalians. Rest in peace. And Relay as well. It was pinged earlier on, a couple turns ago, but it's a ping. I wasn't going to watch it. He's been stormed by Atlantis, and Atlantis brought his Pretender, which is, Scales Pretender, just a water dragon for expansion and stuff like that. And what else has he got? A couple of water gems there, so there's a lot of water, living water. And water elementals on the Relay side as well, so we're going to have a big old fight in the gate. But it doesn't last too long because the Slave Guardians decide to rout pretty quickly. There's a few still plugging it up with the water elementals, but the Pretender Dragon actually has Body Ethereal on him. So he sneaks in around in the wall and gets to the back line of mages and tramples them. And eventually, that's going to be a win for Relay. Or not Relay, sorry. A win for Atlantis. So, well played, Relay. You lasted as long as Ind did, being the first nation to be knocked out, water nation to be knocked out of the second layer. Aside from that, we've got a lot of things like thrones being taken and claimed. Yis is still alive there with big PD dumps and stuff like that. There's another throne battle from Atlantis, so we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. But for the most part, they've stayed out of the war in the cave layer, which I think is generally good for me. Probably better that I don't have to worry about that. Oh, and then one last battle as well, which was me trying to take this fort down here, but he actually had more PD than I had mannequins even, and so they survived and killed me, and so I'm bringing now more stuff. So yeah, that's this episode, I guess. So don't overthink things too much, I guess, is my general advice. Just go with your gut and say we're just gonna storm this capital. We're not gonna worry about that and try and make fancy plays and stuff like that. I try too hard sometimes. All right, well, thank you for watching. Anyways, have a good one.